What's up, everybody? I'm Najee Adams.
And I'm Hunter Jacobs.
And you're listening to the Hoop Ball Nets podcast. What's up, y'all? So, we're back yet again. And, the Nets have concluded their draft. We're like 5 days away from free agency. Things are about to start heating up. But before we get into all of that, let me just get through the intro. Make sure you leave a review, 5 stars, on our iTunes page. You can find us at Hoop Ball Nets. You can look up Brooklyn Nets, Hoop Ball Nets, either one. We come up. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Hoop Ball Nets. Tweet us questions, tweet us anything, comments, thoughts, concerns, anything you guys want to say to us. Make sure you just tweet it at us. All 5-star reviews are getting read on the podcast. Shout out to Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company for sponsoring this podcast and every other Hoop Ball podcast. You can find them on Twitter at Hi Kona Coffee. That's Kona with a K. And you can search them up on Amazon if you want to try any of their amazing products. Boom. So, with that being said, we do actually have 2 reviews today. This makes review number 26 and 27. Our 2 reviews are coming from Aviotics and Joey Montana with 3 A's. We'll start with Aviotics. He said, or she, favorite basketball podcast. I love the energy that Najee and Hunter have. It is rare to find a duo with such great chemistry and knowledge like these two. This is my favorite podcast right now. Thank you, Aviotics. We try to have as much energy as possible. I mean, we've known each other for, 6 years? 7 years? About 7 years, so if we didn't have chemistry, that'd be pretty sad. So there we go. Joey Montana says, amazing podcast. These guys know their stuff and do a great job of engaging their audience. This is a must listen with 2 exclamation points. Thank you again. We don't want to brag, but we do think we do a pretty good job. But like we said, we're still improving, still getting better each and every time. So make sure you guys continue to leave these reviews so we know what you guys want us to improve on and what you guys already think we're pretty good at. So yeah. Now, we're going to get into the meat of the episode. So the Nets, they did conclude their NBA draft just like every other team in the league. And they started the night with the 27th and 31st and the 27th and 31st pick after trading the 17th in the Allen Crabbe deal. They ended the night with the 31st and 56th pick because they traded 27 to the Clippers for a 2020 lottery protected first round pick. And pick 56.
Trading out of the first round gives you millions in cap space, specifically $2 million in this case. And the Nets didn't really need anyone at 27 that they couldn't get at 31.
Should have took Bol.
So getting the $2 million, so now they can sign a max. And the pick they got was somebody that definitely filled a position of need, because there's not a lot of need the Nets have other than star power and the position they took, backup big man right now.
Exactly. So, yes, like Hunter said, trading away the pick actually did more than just get them. Well, I don't want to say that the lottery-protected Clippers pick isn't anything, because it's very likely if the Clippers strike out in free agency, they're in the lottery, so they keep the pick. But let's say they get a Jimmy Butler or someone, or Kawhi Leonard maybe. That the pick very well could go to the Nets next year, and they could use that as an asset to trade for next year. And also, like Hunter said, they cleared up to $2 million, and that got them closer to signing another max free agent alongside presumably Kyrie Irving. And so, yeah, let's talk about who they drafted. With the 31st pick, the Nets selected Nicolas Claxton out of Georgia. It was a much-needed pick due to the fact that they only have one big on their roster, which honestly shocked me. I didn't believe it when I first realized it. I was like, no shot. But they do only have Jared Allen, because Damari Carroll, he's not even a big man, but he's a free agent. They don't plan on bringing back Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, who they played at the 4.
Or Ed Davis.
Exactly. So Jared Allen really is their only big man.
And Claxton is similar to Allen in that right now he's mostly a traditional big man. He can shoot, but is very, very slight and inconsistent. He has more of a mid-range game now, so he can stretch the floor more than Allen, but his defensive abilities are strong. He's very athletic, good wingspan. If he works on his three-point shot and develops it over the years, he could wind up overtaking the position.
See, that's with their other pick, if it's Jaylen Hands, we'll get into him more later. I think Hands is going to be more of a project. Nick Claxton is still only 20, so he'll be a project too, but I think he's actually going to get legitimate playing time on the team next year. He's 6'11", 220 pounds, 7 foot 2 inch wingspan, and he's still only 20, averaged 13 points, 8.6 rebounds, 1.8 steals, and 2.5 blocks on 46% shooting. In his sophomore year, he finished the season all SEC second team, and he led the SEC in blocks. So what stood out to me when I really didn't know much about Nick Claxton, so when the Nets drafted him, I had to look up highlights and everything like that. What stood out to me personally is that he's more of a perimeter defender than Jared Allen, and I feel like the Nets got a big man who still prioritizes defense, but in a different way than Jared Allen, because I feel like Jared Allen is more of a low post rim protector, and Nicolas Claxton can switch on to guards. Jesus, I can't talk. Can switch on to guards if need be. That's obviously not going to be his primary use on the Nets, but let's say Jared Allen was to get switched on to a guard, he'll get fried.
Claxton is just versatile. He's fast, athletic, and he's not as big as Jared Allen in terms of weight and how that's why his finishing may lack to start, although he is a good finisher. Jared Allen is just stronger for the moment. Things can change, but Claxton, he has a different skill set than Allen. He can catch the ball better. He's more athletic, more versatile on defense, can stretch the floor more, but he's not quite the rim protector and rebounder yet that Allen is.
Yeah, I feel like the Nets drafted a big man that makes up for Jared Allen's weaknesses. His strengths are Jared Allen's weaknesses, so they can interchange the two based on their matchups if need be. So yeah, like Hunter said, he did only shoot 28.1% from behind the arc, but hopefully with some NBA training, a shooting coach, a couple seasons of actual NBA mentorship, he'll be able to shoot the ball at a pretty high percentage, at least 30. So if I was grading the pick, I personally would give it, I don't want to give them an A, but I kind of would give, let's go B+. I'd give them a B+, because they filled a need in getting a big man. He has the potential to be a stretch big, and he makes up for Jared Allen's weaknesses, so I'm going to go B+.
Yes, I'll also say B+, personally, because I believe he was the second best center that was on the board at the time of their pick. Claxton rose a lot in the draft over the past few weeks as the combine hit. He had an amazing combine, scrimmages, everything went well, and he rose to a late first rounder, wound up being first pick of the second round. But I still think he was the second best big man available because everyone knows Bol slipped to 44.
So we might as well talk about Bol a little. I think the Nets should have drafted him. I honestly think he would have addressed more of a stretch of big need than Nicolas Claxton, but apparently his medicals were horrible at the draft, so I understand why the Nets and most other teams didn't want to take the chance on him. But I think the Heat messed up trading him because I don't get what they got back for Bol. I think they would have got more potential out of Bol than they did out of whatever they got back.
I believe any team that was a playoff team last season there was no reason that they shouldn't have taken him in the second round. You're already a playoff team and you potentially get a top 5 talent. What do you really have to lose?
And Bol, for the Nuggets, that's a steal. They already have Michael Porter Jr., who they just probably nursed back to at least 90 to 100%. And now they're going to do the same thing with Bol. And they have an incredible young core: Jamal Murray, Gary Harris, Malik Beasley, Michael Porter Jr., and Bol. I'm probably forgetting somebody, but those I know for sure. An incredible young core.
Did you say Nikola Jokic?
Nikola Jokic, bow. How did I even forget him? He's an all-star. But yeah, the league definitely messed up by letting the Nuggets get a hold of Bol. But on to the Nets' next pick. They selected Jaylen Hands with the 56th pick in the draft. Personally, I am a big... So this goes back to like 3 or 4 years ago. I've been a fan of Jaylen Hands for a long time. Back when he was in high school, it
was Colin Sexton, Trayvon Duval, and Jaylen Hands.
Yes. Me personally, I said Jaylen Hands was going to be the best out of the 3. Hey, he still might be, all I'm saying. But
I had Jaylen Hands as the worst of the 3.
And then our friend had Trayvon Duval, who's actually garbage. And now Colin Sexton is the starting point guard for the Cavaliers. So I guess that Colin Sexton is the best one. But personally, for me, I like Jaylen Hands. I don't know what it is about him. I like his attitude. I like his swag. I just like how he plays the game. But it was also a shock for Hunter and I because obviously we were watching the draft together. We thought they would take Shamori Pons. If you guys don't know who Shamori Pons is, he went to St. John's University. We currently go to St. John's University. So it was, and he's from New York. So we thought it was a great pick for them to take a homegrown guard who has to come, just like they took, just how they nourished Isaiah Whitehead. I feel like it would have been the same thing for Shamori.
And also, like, Justin Wright Foreman out of Hofstra, who's also homegrown, went 3 picks before the Nets. So you would think that would wake them up, be like, hey, this one Queens kid gets picked. Now let's pick Shamori Pons. And they're likely letting D'Lo walk. Shamori's a left-handed scoring guard, although he's not nearly as good yet.
I think
he does have potential to be a good bench scorer in the NBA.
I honestly think he's a better player than Jaylen Hands.
He is.
If we're being honest, I think he is a better player than Jaylen Hands.
He is an explosive scorer.
He can get buckets. If none of you have ever looked at Shamori Pons, then you're missing out because that kid is sick. He gets buckets.
The only thing in his scoring arsenal that really needs to get improved, in my opinion, is his consistency in shooting. He shot a low percentage from 3 every season at St. John's, but there were some shots that he hit from like a good 8 feet behind the 3-point line. But so his range extended very far, but he just wasn't consistent with it. If he gets consistency in the NBA, he will definitely have a bench spot.
So yes, Jaylen Hands, back to him. He is 20 years old, 6'3", 180-pound guard. What is wrong with me? 6'3", 180-pound guard out of UCLA. And UCLA usually has a pretty good track record with guards. Lonzo Ball went there, Russell Westbrook, Drew Holiday, Zach LaVine, Darren Collison, all went there. If you want to say Aaron Holiday, he also went there. And so hopefully Jaylen Hands can follow in that same mold. He's extremely athletic, averaged 14.2 points, 6.1 assists, which led the Pac-12, 3.7 rebounds, and 1.3 steals on 41.3% shooting, while also shooting 73. Oh, no, he did not shoot 73. He shot 37.3% from behind the line. He was tasked with playing more of the point guard in his sophomore season, which obviously led to his assists rising from 2.6 to the 6.1 he averaged this season, but his turnovers also rose from 1.8 to 3.2. His assist-to-turnover ratio was only 1.9, which obviously isn't great for point guards, and that's where I get to his weakness. He's not the best decision-maker, and I feel like personally he sometimes goes too fast with the ball and forces the issue instead of letting the game come to him.
Similar to what Russell Westbrook does at times. He doesn't do it as much now, being that Paul George is on his team and he's getting older.
He still does it a lot, though.
Yeah, and he's getting older, but Westbrook will just go head down off a rebound straight into the paint and try and draw a foul. Sometimes he'll hit just backboard on the layup. It's a terrible shot. And Draymond Green does it a lot. It's something that players will grab boards and just go straight head down full speed, and he has a tendency to do that, and then he'll be too far into it by the time he commits to passing or shooting.
So yeah, we both feel like Jaylen is more of a project than Nick Claxton, and he might get some time at the end of the season if the Nets are going to make the playoffs. He might get some time, but other than that, we think he's going to spend the majority of this next season in the G League. And if I had to grade the pick, I'd probably give it a B. I think there were better options on the board, such as Shamori Pons, but it doesn't fit a need for the Nets, but I can see why they drafted him, so I'm going to give them a B.
I'm not the biggest Jaylen Hands fan. He's all right. He'll be a G League star, touch the
summer league
star every now and then. I give it a C. There was definitely better players on the board that went undrafted or that could have been picked at 56 that I would have taken over him, but no one really that would have changed the franchise, so that's why they get a C.
If we have to go overall draft grade, for me, drum roll please, I'm going to go with a B+. A B. I mean, the average of B and B plus is B, so I'm going to go with B. Because I feel like the Nets filled the need in Nicolas Claxton, and we got a high upside guy in Nicolas Claxton, but also got Jaylen Hands, who could be a backup point guard in the future if they were to get depleted at the guard position. So yeah, I feel like they looked towards the future in both picks, and that's a pretty good job.
I give them an A- only because of the clearing of cap space by getting out of the first round and trading the 17th pick with Alan Crabb's contract. That all goes along with their overall draft. And they get Claxton in Hands along with their ability to unload that contract, clear cap space, and have 2 max slots now.
Well, thanks for making me look like an idiot because I completely forgot about that. So I'm going to have to change my draft grade from B to, cool, what'd you say? A-? Yeah. Going with A- because they cleared the cap space to $2 million, which will go a long way towards signing another free agent. And, if we're not talking about picks, then B. If we're adding the picks and the cap space that they got rid of and acquired, then I'm going A-. Woo, now it's time to get to the meat of the podcast. The reason that the Nets are in the news as of late is not because of the draft. It is not because of Nicolas Claxton. It is because of free agency.
And that's why every team is really in the news.
Exactly, with the exception of the Pelicans and Zion. So recently, the most recent news that has come out about the Nets has been the Timberwolves attempted to sign and trade Wiggins for D'Angelo Russell. The Nets obviously declined because Andrew Wiggins is a bust, and I don't think Andrew Wiggins is a good NBA player. I'm sorry, and he's definitely not good enough to sign and trade with D'Lo. So
I do agree with that. I still will not categorize him as a bust.
Oh my god!
Anyone who averaged 20 points a game,
he is bad. He's bad.
He's worse than the number 1 pick.
Yes,
but
he's a bust. He did not live up to his potential, a.k.a. bust.
A bust is Greg Oden.
Oh
a
my
bust
God.
is Kwame Brown,
They're
Anthony
all
Bennett,
bust. They're all
Adam
bust.
Morrison,
They're all
Darko
bust.
Milicic.
They are all bust.
Andrea Bargnani.
Andrew Wiggins.
Bogut.
No, Andrew Wiggins.
No.
Andrew Bogut is an NBA champion.
And he
That's all I'm saying.
And what? So
Andrew
is James
Bogut
Jones.
is NBA
so
champion.
is James Jones. What does that really
Andrew
mean?
Wiggins is just bad.
What does that mean? So is Jeremy Lin.
Hey, Jeremy Lin is nice.
Yeah, right.
Jeremy Lin or Andrew Wiggins, who's better? 3, 2, 1.
Andrew
Jeremy
Wiggins.
Lin.
You're crazy.
Wild.
You're
Jeremy
crazy.
Lin is better.
You're crazy.
But yes, the Timberwolves were out of their ever-loving minds if they thought that the Nets would trade D'Lo for Andrew Wiggins. All signs are pointing to Kyrie Irving coming and D'Angelo Russell departing from the Nets. It's even been reported that Kyrie is recruiting players for Brooklyn, and it's obviously been the worst kept secret of the free agency period that Kyrie's most likely 90% going to sign with the Brooklyn Nets.
It seems like everything involving Kyrie is a bad kept secret. Everything always comes out for someone who's supposed to be so quiet and chill. As you know, I'm a Celtics fan. I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty happy he's going. I was sad Horford's going, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty happy that Kyrie is going.
I feel like that's a consistent flaw. That's a consistent mindset in the fans of both the Cavs when Kyrie left and the Celtics now, which has to say something about Kyrie. Because when he left the Cavs, Cavs fans were kind of like, okay, like I'm ready to rebuild. No big deal. Kyrie's cool. We love him. But I'm not that mad that he's leaving. And now Celtics fans are like, hey, see you on the flip, buddy. So what does that say about him? Obviously, he's not the best locker room presence or the best leader that a team can have.
I personally believe that getting rid of D'Angelo Russell for Kyrie Irving is going to be the first step that is in the wrong direction for Sean Marks. He's going to go from heading toward an NBA championship to heading right back down to the middle of the East consistently.
I don't understand. So the Nets have done everything that they possibly can since the Boston Celtics trade to build this culture, a culture surrounding family and a culture surrounding fun, togetherness,
enjoyment of the game, and now they're bringing in one of the weirdest players in the NBA.
And not only that,
doesn't mesh with their young players.
Exactly. If you're going to build this culture and be so and make this culture such an important part of your team dynamic, then why would you throw it away the first chance you get? Especially, and I personally feel bad for D'Lo. Obviously, if you guys have been listening, you know he's my favorite player. But no bias in this. I feel like he's honestly gotten the short end of the stick both places he went. Lakers, they traded him away for a pack of garbage, and basically gave up on him. He comes to the Nets, gets injured that first season. He starts out this season okay. Karis LeVert goes down. D'Lo becomes an all-star, integrates himself perfectly into the Nets culture, becomes the leader of that Nets locker room outside of Jared Dudley and people like that. D'Lo was the leader of that team. And then, after giving his all to the Nets, they just throw him away like he was nothing for Kyrie Irving, the new shiny toy. Like, I feel as though D'Lo he got done dirty by the Nets.
I don't get the point of getting rid of him and not just signing Tobias or Jimmy Butler or anybody that goes along with him, Julius Randle even. They'd be so much better
or
equipped.
KD!
Yeah, they'd be so much better equipped with that than Kyrie and KD, who will be hurt for a year, maybe two, before he even plays.
So, all signs are pointing to D'Lo leaving. He currently has a meeting scheduled with the Lakers when free agency opens. And they look like the front runners to sign him. I sound very not excited right now, but I would jump clean off of a building if the Los Angeles Lakers re-signed D'Angelo Russell, because obviously he's my favorite player and the Lakers are my favorite team. But for the Nets, I obviously don't agree with them ditching D'Lo for Kyrie. So Kevin Durant is also considering the Knicks, the Nets, the Warriors, and the Clippers. All signs are pointing to him and Kyrie Irving teaming up in Brooklyn, which would likely be in the finals for a good amount. At least they'd obviously
three times
at least make 2 or 3 finals.
3 times.
Would they win? I don't know. The West is pretty sick right now, but that's obviously a finals appearance for the Nets. But I still, is that worth throwing away everything that you've built? Because what was the point of building it then? To get to this point? Like, you could have done this without building the culture.
It'll be worth it if they win. If they win a championship, it's worth it. It's the same thing that happened with most teams. Like with the Mavericks, they finally got Dirk his against the Heat. The Celtics finally got Pierce his in 2008. It's all worth it if those teams build to get that one championship in that period.
But at some point, it has to be too much, because now reports are coming out that the Nets are even trying to sign DeAndre Jordan just because he's cool with KD, so that would lure him into the Nets. So you're going to have DeAndre Jordan, Jared Allen, and Nick Claxton that all do the exact same thing. What is the point? They're literally just going all out for KD and Kyrie. And I mean, if you have a team of KD, Kyrie, Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Joe Harris, and Jared Allen, Nick Claxton, and DeAndre Jordan, I'm not going to lie, that's probably winning the chip. But still, like what's next? What's after that? D'Lo is only 23. Kyrie is, 27? In 3 years, he'll be 30, 31, 32 after that. KD's already, 29, 30?
Yeah, 29.
The Nets are a young team. They're not a team that should just throw it all away for a chance at winning a chip. You saw what happened with the Warriors. I mean, I get it. I do understand that the purpose of basketball and the purpose of playing in the NBA and having a team in the NBA is to win a championship. And I would be foolish to say that getting Kyrie and KD doesn't increase their chances at doing so. But I also feel like there's a level of integrity you need to have and maintain the culture of your team along the way. Because what's the point of building a culture if you're not going to stick through it? With the Nets free agency out of the way, Hunter and I have prepared a list of, 23, some random number, 23 free agents. And we're going to just go through, do a little primer about where we think these free agents are going to land. And some of them will be with the Nets, some of them will not be. But let's start it off with the obvious. Kawhi Leonard. I think he is going to end up staying with the Toronto Raptors.
On a short-term deal.
A 1+1, so he can reach the 10+ year veteran point in the league and get 35% of the max.
And also, it makes sense. The Raptors are getting older. He's going to stay on a short-term deal. Just makes
Run
a
it
lot
back.
of sense.
On to Kevin Durant. I have absolutely no clue, but if I had to choose one, I would honestly say he goes to the Nets. To be completely honest, I say the Nets end up with KD missing a year and then coming back.
I also agree. KD will be on the Nets, but if not the Nets, I believe he'll just say it is what it is and take that 5-year supermax with the Warriors and get $50 million the last year of his deal. But it depends if he wants money or fun. That's really what it is.
On to Kyrie.
This is a
whoop-de-doo.
no-brainer.
I think he's going to the Nets.
Celtics,
Obviously.
yeah, he's coming back.
Definitely not. I think he's going to the Nets. On to Kemba. This is where things get hot. I think Kemba Walker
Will be a Boston Celtic.
will become a Boston Celtic, which I think does absolutely nothing for the Celtics. Puts them in a cycle of mediocrity, as they have been for the past couple of years. But if I had to choose a place for Kemba to land, I would say he ends up as a Celtic come the beginning of next season.
Kemba will fill the void left by the departure of Kyrie Irving, and they still have no replacement for Horford. But Grant Williams, Romeo Langford, Tremont Waters, and Carson Edwards will do just fine in making up for all of that. So I'm not too worried about the state of the Celtics, although losing Kyrie, Rozier, Horford, and Morris is a lot to deal with.
Now we have Klay Thompson. It's
Warriors.
It's the year of the K's. I was gonna say Kawhi, KD, Kyrie, Kemba, Klay, Kristaps, Chris. But I say that Klay Thompson ends up staying with his Splash brother and staying in Golden State.
Yeah, they're gonna lock him up forever, Steph up forever. Those two are never leaving the Warriors. It is what it is.
On to Kristaps Porzingis.
He's getting the max from the Mavs. They're matching whatever he gets regardless. He's staying with the Mavericks.
Yeah, he's going to sign a Supermax with the Mavericks, which I think will be stupid on their part, but hey, we'll see.
Do you believe the Rockets will clear up getting to the next name? All of these players to get Jimmy Butler.
I mean, I feel like it's definitely possible they want to trade them for picks and everything, but by them I mean PJ Tucker, Eric Gordon, and Clint Capella. Clint Capella's obviously going to have a market. PJ Tucker, he's shown that he can contribute to a championship caliber team, and Eric Gordon is honestly nice. He's actually a good NBA player.
He is a 3-and-D star at the wing when he's healthy, but he's not healthy a lot, so
I think they'll end up doing it. Do I think, even if the Sixers sign and trade them Jimmy Butler, I don't think the Rockets, that's going to move the pendulum for the Rockets. I don't think that Jimmy Butler, Chris Paul, and James Harden will be able to get along very well.
I believe that would be a disaster in my opinion, and they'll have no big man. Their starting center will be Nene, and that will not work.
But if we had to pick a place for Jimmy to go, barring the sign and trade, I'm going to say he goes to the, let's think about this. I'm going to say he goes to the Clippers.
I say he stays in Philadelphia.
Yes, I say he goes to the Clippers. On to Tobias Harris, another 76er. I say he stays in Philadelphia because no one's really been talking about him, and I feel like the Sixers are just going to nab him up. He's going to be one of those deals that Wolves just tweets out July 1st, quick. Tobias Harris has signed a 5-year Supermax with the Philadelphia 76ers.
I am taking a shot in the dark and saying that Tobias Harris ends up replacing Harrison Barnes' position with the Sacramento Kings, who now have a max slot. Up-and-coming De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Marvin Bagley, and they have a hole at a big man position. Bagley can slide to the 5 or play the 4. Tobias can play the 3 or 4. I believe he will bring them to the playoffs and have some fun in Sacramento.
That's not a bad landing spot for Tobias. I could see him in Sacramento. Chris Middleton, I think that there's no chance he goes anywhere but the Bucks. A lot of people aren't talking about the fact that he's also eligible for the same max as Kawhi Leonard and Kyrie and Kemba. Do I think the Bucks give him that?
No.
I'm not sure.
If he gets a max that will ruin their future, I'm not saying he's not a good player, but I don't think he is at the caliber that should be getting $50 million in the last year of his deal.
I feel like they might give it to him. But regardless, I think he stays a Milwaukee Buck. Nikola Vucevic, I have no clue, but I'm going to say that he takes the Supermax, takes the money, and signs with the Magic again.
If the Celtics strike out on Kemba, I think it's very possible they land Vucevic. But if not, I do also agree that he would go back to Magic.
Now we have the man himself, the man of the hour, D'Angelo Russell. I'm going to say he signs with the Lakers, to be completely honest. I just don't see the Nets bringing him back. The Suns don't have much cap space. The Timberwolves have to jump through thousands of loops just to get enough cap space to offer him. The Knicks, maybe, but why would he want to go to the trash Knicks when he could come to the Lakers and maybe win a chip?
I personally believe with $10 more million a year annually, I believe he will take a deal with the Indiana Pacers, and if the Nets do not match, he will be on the Pacers.
See, that's the only other place that I think has a shot of signing him because they're not too bad. They will probably offer him a max, and he'll get to play with Victor Oladipo.
They will pitch him him and Victor Oladipo backcourt. Then they have a young Warren at the 3. They have Sabonis, Goga, and Miles in the front court. Their team is not bad.
But D'Angelo Russell, does he want to play with Victor Oladipo, or does he want to play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis and live in Los Angeles? Who knows?
It
seems like a pretty good
undercut
answer.
Is how little people actually want to play with LeBron James.
I think you're undercutting how much people want to play in Los Angeles.
It's L.A., yes.
Who wants to live in Indiana? Who wants to be a Pacer?
Who wants to make $50 million a year?
Hey, who wants to make $20 million a year, win a chip? I say, and live in LA? I say,
he's young in his career. Let him make the money now and a ring chase later if it comes to it.
Hey, in 3 years, when LeBron is done moving out the door, D'Angelo Russell will be the king of LA. So that's all I'm saying. Just think about this. D-Lo, if you ever happen to hear this podcast, which I 99% doubt you will ever do, just come to the Lakers or stay with the Nets. Do not go anywhere else but the Lakers or the Nets. Malcolm Brogdon.
I personally believe one team will throw him a ridiculous offer sheet. Specifically, the Phoenix Suns, I believe, will give him about $25 million a year in an offer sheet. And if not them, maybe the Timberwolves or the Celtics. And one of those teams will offer him a big offer sheet. Make the Bucks have to match if they want him, and if the Bucks do, they are screwed for the future.
Apparently, the Bucks are going to match whatever offer sheet he gets as long as it's not his max.
Because if they match something that's about $25 million and then Brogdon gets a huge contract, they are so deep in the luxury tax that will mess them up for a long time.
I agree. But I'm going to say Brogdon ends up with the Bucks on the fact that I don't think he gets his max offer. Now we have DeMarcus Cousins.
New York Knicks.
Boogie. Yeah, I think he goes to the Knicks, honestly, because they're so trash, and if he gets...
The Knicks are so awful terrible, and they're going to take anything they can get, and he knows that he is so awful terrible that they will welcome him.
I love how awful terrible is just one word.
Yep.
He's just so awful terrible, and I feel like that's the team that he could go to take as many shots as he wants.
And redeem himself if he actually becomes good.
Exactly. So now we're on to Al Horford. I think he goes to the Sacramento Kings.
I believe he goes to the LA Clippers.
Because Willie Cauley-Stein wants out, and the Kings need a big man to put alongside Marvin Bagley. I say they get Al Horford.
I believe he goes to Clippers. He will be able to mentor Montrezl Harrell, play the 4-5 next to either Gallinari or Harrell, whoever is in the lineup at that time. And he would push them into the playoffs for sure. Right now, they're a border playoff team in the West. I believe he would make them a 5th seed type of team.
On to Julius Randle, who I think is a wild card, but if I had to choose a team, I would say the Pacers. I say Julius Randle goes to the Pacers to play alongside Miles Turner.
I believe he could also go to the Pacers if D'Lo doesn't get an absolute max and signs with the Pacers. Then you could see Russell and Randall both ending up in Indiana.
Yeah, alrighty there. I think Terry Rozier, I have put absolutely no thought into this one. So this
Celtics will not extend him the qualifying offer likely. He will probably go unrestricted and sign with the New York Knicks, who will strike out on every other point guard starting Terry Rozier next season.
Yeah, that is what I was going to say. I'm going to say, since they have 2 max slots and no one's going to want to sign with them, as Andre Iguodala said, no one's going to the sorry Knicks. I want to say that they end up signing Terry Rozier and DeMarcus Cousins and banking it all on those two.
And Dennis Smith will have to come off the bench because Terry Rozier will be the starter on that team.
When it comes to Brook Lopez, I think that he did a lot this season to garner more praise and attention.
And he will not be on the Bucks next season as far as I'm concerned.
No shot. I want to say he signs to a team like the Lakers, but he's not gonna sign a vet min. So I'm gonna say he goes to the New Orleans Pelicans, who now have a max slot.
And I do believe that he'll get about $15 million a year for 2 years, taking up, or maybe 10 to $15 million a year, something like that, for 2 years, and it will get him to mentor Jackson Hayes. He'll be next to Zion. They're a young team, and him and Drew Holiday will take the leadership duties.
Now moving on to DeAndre Jordan. I think the Nets plan works out, and he signs with the Nets and takes a reduced role and a reduced contract, which lures KD and gives the Nets some not needed at all depth at big man.
Yeah, I really don't know what he does for the Nets, but if he goes there, he'll probably wind up coming off the bench. Claxton will be a backup 4 or 5 stretch type of player, and his role will get reduced. And then, if he doesn't go there, maybe the Hawks. That's really the only other place that needs a center that I could see him going.
Now, moving on to Patrick Beverley. I say Patrick Beverley goes to the Lakers. I honestly believe so, because with my prediction of D'Lo going to the Lakers, they'll probably still have about 10 mil to offer, or like 8 or 9 mil to offer. Patrick Beverley, I say he takes it, gets himself a ring, is that bulldog that the Lakers need, and ends up in Los Angeles again on a different team.
I think Patrick Beverley will probably also go to the Lakers. No other teams really have cap space, so there are some that have cap space, but he just won't fit with them. The Lakers have no roster right now, so they need to fill out the roster in any way they can.
On to Kelly Oubre, who reportedly has significant offers from around the league toward somewhere in the range of 80 mil, which I doubt that the Suns will match.
I believe Kelly Oubre will be a New Orleans Pelican, embrace the young culture, come off the bench, 6-man behind Brandon Ingram, get about 4 years, $80 million.
I'm going to agree with Hunter and say that I also believe that Kelly Oubre will go to the Pelicans, because I feel like they have an incredible young core, and adding him to it makes it even more scary. Or is it even scarier? There you go. The Morris twins, I don't think they're a package deal.
I do believe Marcus ends up with the Knicks because they have 2 maxes. Rozier, Marcus, and DeMarcus can fill up a good part of that chunk, but it's not going to do much for them. But I do believe Marcus Morris will also be a New York Knick.
And one last bonus we have is our guy, Ed Davis. I don't know where he ends up, but I feel like if the Nets do happen to get KD and Kyrie, he might take a reduced contract to go for a chip with the Nets, honestly, because I feel like they treated him pretty good this season, and he liked his time in New York, so I'm going to say he stays with the Nets.
I say he goes to the Lakers.
Ooh, I would not be mad.
I say he will be on the Lakers on a 1-year, $4.6 million
mid-level
contract.
the room exception. But yes, that is all for this episode. We hope you guys enjoyed. Free agency is coming up. It's gonna be non-stop notifications to your phone. Make sure you're following Shams, Woj, Mark Stein, anyone you possibly can be following. Pooch. Make sure you're following everybody, because it's gonna get crazy. And we'll get back to y'all after free agency so we can recap everything. We might be looking at a very different Nets roster the next time y'all talk to us. We might be looking at Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant on the same team, which is our Brooklyn Nets, the next time you hear my voice and Hunter's voice. So, keep that in mind. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at HoopBallNets. Tweet us any questions. We'll be reacting to the Nets signings just like you will. So tweet us your excitement, tweet us your disappointment, tweet us anything you can. Subscribe to us on iTunes. You can look up Brooklyn Nets, Hoopball Nets. Either way we come up, just press that little purple subscribe button. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating and review. All reviews are getting read on the podcast. And Yet again, make sure you follow Hawaiian Owls Kona Coffee Company on Twitter for sponsoring this podcast and every other Hoopball podcast. You can find them at Hi Kona Coffee. That's Kona with a K. And make sure you look up their Amazon products because they're all actually amazing. With that being said, that'll do it for this episode, guys. We'll see you all next time.